What up, what up? I had a student from last year named Cohen that gave me some Pikachu and Dragonite sticker activity sheet. Whoa, wayo. Whoa. So we're doing a 7.1. So just before we get, no, 7.2, sorry, 7.2. But I'm just, forgot because I'm so excited to show you that this weekend I'm going to try to redo my birthday because I was sick on my birthday. And what I'm going to try to do is a game called VR Acron. And so let's show you a little video of that. Whoa, nailed that squirrel. Got the golden acorn. So super excited. Super excited to show you that. So I'll let you know how it goes. Ask me about it. Let you know if that's a cool game on VR or not. But you get to play with other your friends and they have their phones. So it looks kind of fun. Okay, so this is back to 7.1 that we learned to do interest and compounding interest. And so we have 22,000 initial deposits. So in case you forgot, in your book is the formula. So here's our two formulas here. One's for non-continuous, like increments, like 12 months. The other one's continuous and uses E in it. And so on our homework there, this one's continuous, so that uses E. And just plug into the formula. And then find the balance to the nearest cent after 4 years of each of the situations. Okay, so the account pays 3% annually, compounded quarterly. So our initial is the 2,200. Our rate, interest compounding, is going to be increasing, so 1 plus, and 3% is the 0.03. Don't forget to write that as decimal, 0.03. Divided by the compounded quarterly, which is fourths. So that's going to be divided by 4, times by 4, and then that's going to be after 4 years. And so that 4 years is a different 4 that we're timesing. Yeah. Okay, plug that into your calculator. What do you get? So go ahead and plug that into your calculator there so I can quit. So 2,200 times 1 plus 0.03. Wait, the 0.03 has to be in parentheses, and it has to be divided by 4, because we're compounding it quarterly. And then close parenthesis one more time, and then that's all to the 4 times 4, or 16, power. And so we get 2479, so 2479.38. That's dollars. That's dollars. So 2479.38 dollars. So we gained $279 for 4 years at an interest rate of 0.03, which is pretty awesome. Beautiful. So you try the next one with E in there. Just plug it into your calculator. Try the next one. But this time you're going to use this formula right here. So APERT. So you're going to use A equals E, or no, the principal times e to the first power, which is 2.7, 1828 to the RT power. So rate times the time. And so just plug those in and get your answer. So next we're graphing. Do you remember how to graph exponentials? So there's a difference between a +2 up here and a +2 here. So the +2 up here means up to. And then this one is actually opposite what you think. Yeah, so that's actually left to. And so let's take a look at that with like an XY table. And so we go ahead and plug in values to the left and the right and at the center, like that. And so then we would do 4 to the -1 plus 2. And so that's 2 minus 1 is just 1, so that's just 4 to the 1. So back 1 up 4. Then you plug a 0 in, 4 to the 0 plus 2. And so that'd be 0 plus 2 is 2. And so 4 squared is 16. Wow, so that's going to be way up here. So I don't even want to plug in 1, because 1 would be 4 to the 1 plus 2. So that would be like 4 to the 3rd power. Whoa, which is like way up there at 64. So maybe we should go back one more. So how about we go back to -2? And so that would be 4 to the -2 plus 2. Just plugging in a -2 right there. And that would be 4 to the 0 power, which is just 1. So back 2 up 1. And so this thing's going to take off. It's going to come down and go along the asymptote there. Add y equals 0. And then this doesn't have it, or this has also an asymptote of 0. But this one has a horizontal asymptote at y equals 2. And so it's horizontal because it's y equals. The domain is going to be -infinity, +infinity. And the range is going to be a little bit trickier. Oh, this one, the domain is also -infinity, +infinity. But the range will be a little bit different there. And so pause me. What are you doing? What are you doing? You sure you know how to do this from last assignment? Pause me and try it on your own. Pause me. Try it on your own. So you should be trying each of these on your own and then pushing play and seeing how you're doing. Okay, so we are approaching a horizontal asymptote. Pause me. We're approaching this horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. So this is technically, the graph is getting really close to 0, and then it's taking off up to infinity. So this one will be 0 to infinity. This one has a horizontal asymptote of up to. And so it's going to be y equals 2 is what we're going here with this line right here. And then that's going to be up to infinity. So that should be 2 to infinity. Okay, then our graph for number 5. So our graph, let's see. So we're doing 4 to the x power one more time. So let's go ahead and do those numbers again. So we have an xy table. We're doing -1, 0, 1. So 4 to the -1 is a 4th. 4 to the 0 is just 1, and then 4 to the 1 is 4. So let's see here. So we have what? Oh, we forgot the +2. +2, +2, +2. So that's going to be 6, so over 1 up 6. This one's going to be this one's going to be over 1 up 6. This one's going to be 0, and it was going to be up 1, but it's actually going to be 1 plus 2 is 3. So that's going to be here, and then the 2 plus a 4th, so back 1, and then up 2 and a 4th. And so that's going to be exponentially growing, and just along our asymptote there. Cool, so I hope you're getting the hang of those, because now we're going to teach you logs, which is the opposite. So logs is like the inverse, right? So logs is what we're going to learn that's new. And so that's going to be the inverse. So instead of over 0 up 3, it's going to be 3 over 0. Right? 3 over 0. And then instead of going, so you're basically taking these values to do a log. So 7.2's lesson is logs. And so we can convert this to a log by switching the x's and the y's and solving for y. So y equals 4x plus 2. We're going to switch the x's and y's. And we're going to solve for y by minusing 2 over to this side. So we get x minus 2 equals 4 to the y power. And then to undo base 4, you have to log base 4 both sides. So we're going to go ahead. This is just showing you today's lesson. So you're going to log base 4, log base 4. And so now we have that equation, which is y equals log base 4 of x minus 2. And so these two are like inverses of each other. This guy and this guy are inverses of each other. And so to graph that, you're basically going to take and switch the x and the y's. So we would take these x's and y's here, and we would switch them. You don't have to do this part, just kind of follow along and learn the lesson. So this would be, instead of -1, 2 1/4, it would be 2 plus 1/4, -1. And this one, instead of being 0, 3, it would be 3, 0. And then this one, instead of being 1, 6, would be 6, 1. And so we would go over 6, up 1. We'd go 3, 0. And then 2 1/4 and down 1. And so this would be like that, which is the inverse. You can kind of see that it flips over a diagonal is what the inverse does. So this kind of just flips over down to the right, or rotates 180 degrees. Cool, and that's what a log looks like, which we're going to show you on the next page. No, we're going to show you on this page. Okay, so this is a shift up to, if it lets me. Here we go. Okay, so this is a shift up to. This is upside down. So this is upside down, and instead of right 2, it's actually left 2. So this one's left 2 as well as upside down. And then this one, instead of going up and to the right, this negative there means it's actually going to go up and to the left. And so that one's easy to find. You can spot that one right here with A. That one's going to be up and to the left. So number 9 is going to be graph A. And if you're not sure, we can plug in points, which I'll show you on the next page. You can also use your graphing calculator just to kind of get the hang of it. And so let me show you how to do that. So what you would do is you go ahead and type in, so you go to y equals, go to y, clear your screen, go to y equals. And so how do we do log base 3? So you go math button, and you go all the way down, the math button, go all the way down to log base, which is option A. And then we type in log base 3. And then right arrow, we type in a negative, so that's the ouchie, negative x, and then plus 1. And then we push graph, and there it is. So it's going backwards, flipped backwards. Whoa, it's flipped backwards. And it's shifted also to the, you think left one is actually shifted to the left one, right one? Yeah. So usually the asymptote's here. And so then we shifted our asymptote to the left one, but then we flipped it. That's interesting. We flipped it, and then we go up and to the left, up and to the left. And so, so that's number 9. Number 7 is upside down, but is it shifted left to? Is it shifted left to? So the original asymptote is here, and so that means that this asymptote has been shifted left 2. Yeah, so D is definitely not number 7. That's a different one. So what is number 7? Well, let's go ahead and show you these values. And I'm going to show you how to graph it by hand now. So it should be B. 7 should be B. Let's go ahead and show you Y. It's going to try to show you there how to graph this. So basically you have Y equals negative log 3 to the x power. I'm going to do it down here actually, and I'm going to switch them. So I'm going to put the negative log 3 to the x power here equals y. And now I'm basically going to solve, so we're going to basically go back to exponential form and graph that, right? Because it's the inverse. So what I mean by that is we're going to turn this log into an exponential. So how I do that is I divide the negative first to the other side. So that's a negative y. And then, let's see here, we have log base 3 of x equals negative y. And then to undo log base 3, we're going to go ahead and base 3. So I'm going to shove a 3 under there and shove a 3 under there. And that gets rid of the log. And so now you have x equals 3 to the negative y power. And so we're going to use that to graph it. Because we're kind of more used to doing exponential than logarithm graphing, right? You can't just look at a log and go, oh yeah, it's this. Because it's the opposite of exponential, which is weird. It's log. So we're going to use that to graph it now. So we're going to do an xy table. I'm going to use that function of x equals 3 to the negative y power. But this time, instead of choosing like 0, a negative 1, and positive 1 for the x value, we're actually going to use it for the y value and solve for x. Because it's inverse, right? Inverse of exponential. So here we go. So now I'm going to plug in negative 1 here for y. So, right, and solve for x. So x equals, we're going to do 3 to the negative, and then in place of y, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the negative 1 there for y. Right? So then that's going to be x equals what? That's negative, negative is a positive. So that's going to just be, a 3. So negative 1, so that's going to be over 3. So 1, 2, 3, down 1. So there's one of our points on our graph. Then we're going to use 0 next. And so x equals 3 to the negative 0 power, which is just 3 to the 0 power, and 3 to the 0 power is just 1. So that's going to be over 1 up 0. There's that. And then we use positive 1, right? Negative 1, 0, positive 1. A little bit down, a little bit up. So we're actually going down to up right now, which is our range. Okay, so then we're going to do x equals, remember, 3 to the negative y power is what we're using. So 3 to the negative y power, but this time it's negative y is a 1. Y equals 1. Let's use a different color. So we're going to go ahead and do y is equal to 1. So we'll put a 1 there, basically. And so 3 to the negative 1 is 1/3. And so now we're going to go over a third, and then up 1. And there's our graph. And there's our graph. So we just showed you how to graph number 7 by hand. Wayo! And so we graphed that equation, so it's definitely graph B. So you try to figure out now what 6 and 8 are. Okay, 6 and 8. It's either we already have 9 is A, so it can't be A. So it has to be C or D. C or D. Okay, so let's practice some more with graphing. Let's take a look there at graphing. Graphing takes a lot of practice, so we'll do one now, and then we'll do more on the next video. Okay, so let's just start with number 11. Let's see, so number 11, looking good there. So this is going to be a down 1 as well as a left 2, right? So, but can we find our initial, what's our initial value there is what I'm asking. So what I mean is where does y now, remember usually it's x equals 0, but where does y equal 0? So where does y equal 0? So then what we want to do is we plug a 0 in here and solve for x. And so the tricky part is we need to turn this into an exponential equation that we can graph. Right? Because it says to do it by hand. Don't use your calculator. Right? At least 2 key points. And then use the asymptote with a dashed line. So I'm going to do the parent function first, and then we'll do the shifting. And so the parent function, you're lucky, it's actually number 10 is the parent function. And so this is a parent function, and then this is a child of the base 4, basically. And so how do we do that? So we're going to convert it. So right now, this is saying y equals log base 4 of x. And so I want to do solve for x now is what I want to do. And so I'm going to switch that around. So log base 4 of x equals y. And I want to solve for x. So how do I solve for x? So I go ahead and base 4, both sides. And that gets rid of the log. And now we have x equals 4 to the y power. And so because that's still an exponential, but it's the inverse, and we're trying to graph it right now. So let's go ahead and graph that guy. And so we're going to choose values for y now, -1, 0, 1. And so when we plug in y value, when we plug that -1 in, we get 4 to the -1 power, which is just a 4th. And then we plug 4 to the 0 power, which is just a 1. And then we plug 4 to the 1, so that goes with that one. And then this one goes with this one. 4 to the 1 power just equals 4. So 4 to the 1 power equals 4, so that's going to be over 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1. This is 4 to the 0 power, so 0, so that's going to be 1, 1, 0 next. This was 4, 1, this is 1, 0. And then this one is 1/4, -1, so over a 4th and down -1. And so this parent function goes along the x-axis and then over to the right. And that's our graph of logarithms by hand. Crazy. And so then our asymptote will be, instead of y equals 0, it's going to be a vertical. It's going to be a vertical asymptote. And so it's going to be a vertical asymptote of x equals 0. And this one, because of the -1 out there, well, we'll see. I don't want to say just yet. We'll see. Okay, so then the domain, again, is instead of -infinity to positive infinity, it's going to be different on the logarithms. Yeah, it's going to approach this x value of 0. It's going to approach 0. And so we're going to go from 0 to infinity for the domain. Remember, that used to be the range on the last assignment. And then our range is going to be a little bit different. Our range is going to be down here at -infinity all the way up to positive infinity. So the range now will actually be the -infinity, positive infinity. And now we can do the shifting. So now we can do the shifting because we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, 1, 0, and then a 4th, and what was the 4th again? Oh yeah, 4th and then -1. So now we're going to do some shifting here with this one, with this function. Now that we know the parent function, we can shift it. So to go ahead and shift it there, we're going to go, let's see, so we're going to go down 1. So from this point, your x-intercept is the key. So this 1, 0 is going to be the key. It's going to be the key point. You can say it's the origin if you want to. And so from there, we're going to go down 1, down 1. So we're going to go down 1. And then this one says opposite, not right 2, left 2. So left 2. So that's your new key point, okay? That's your new key point. And so then we're going to mimic going up and to the right. We're going to mimic going up and to the right now. So we're going to go up, and we're going to go over, let's see. So this point here, we're going to go down 1, and then left 2. So that should be here. So now we're going to go up and to the right. This is our graph. And then this point down here was going to be just from here, we go left a little bit and down 1. So left a little bit and down 1. And then there it is. And so our vertical asymptote, right? We had a vertical asymptote there at x equals 0. So it actually shifted left 2. So our vertical asymptote shifted left 2. So now we actually have a new, there it is. So now we have a new vertical asymptote at -2. And so that -2 actually came from this guy. Our domain, again, is now going to be from -2, the asymptote, not including it, so no brackets, to infinity. And then the range will be -infinity, positive infinity. So now go ahead and try number 12 on your own. 13, 14, 15, 16, try them on your own. And I'll do another video trying to show you again how to do these by hand. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Bye for now.